welcome to another BIBX BrainSnax, part of the KBW series, or the knowledge-based workflow. Now, before I continue real quickly, just want to say that this BIBX BrainSnax is actually self-sponsored, and that's all made possible by the Dynexum project. All right, so this is another part of the KBW series that deals with Psych 101, and the question that is being asked here is, where do you draw the line? What is your responsibility of being able to convince somebody that your business is a good idea? And where do you draw the line between the people who just aren't interested? First of all, I will say this. With every one person that's out there that is interested in hearing about your business opportunity or being part of your team or benefiting from your product or service, there's going to be just as many people that are not interested. So what do? You know, I think that there's a fine balancing act here. You know, we have a lot of people who say, well, you know, if nobody's going to be interested, I talked to 5 people in a row. So, you know, obviously it's clear that nobody's interested and people are ignorant and blah, blah. Start blaming the people, start blaming the culture, start blaming the time you live in, start blaming the fact that it's Tuesday, start blaming everything. I mean, come on, people. I would say, yes, it's true that there are going to be a certain amount of people who just aren't interested, and it's just not going to benefit them. You know, they say that the worst person, the worst client to have is the reluctant client. So if you're getting the impression that the client is just more and more reluctant, it's going to be more work and hassle for you to try to convince them to even maybe take a look at your opportunities. So they say, if you have to put in, if they are more reluctant, just think of it as kind of like a, you know, was it a line graph here? The more reluctant they are, the more time you're going to have to spend, and probably the more frustration you're going to have. So, well, where does that leave you? Because it sounds like I'm blaming people again, doesn't? Wrong. So, your personal responsibility as an entrepreneur is to make sure that you are as organized as possible. Make sure that you are as friendly as possible. Make sure that you are as comprehensive when you're presenting your ideas to that person. And make sure that you are trained to handle certain common objections. And we'll go into those common objections in another video here. So let me summarize. Your task as an entrepreneur is to make sure that you're as organized as possible when it comes to setting appointments, when it comes to giving presentations, when it comes to having meetings, when it comes to follow-up, when it comes to scheduling. Be as organized as possible. It's also your job to be trained on certain common objections so that you can handle those. Because yes, even the person who is perhaps reluctant in the beginning, once you inform them enough, once you handle their objections in the correct way, then they will be open. The reluctance will be gone. And finally, it's your responsibility to be as open and as willing to connect with that person as much as possible. So making sure that it's comprehensive for them to understand exactly what you do. So make sure that you're comprehensive, make sure that you're organized, make sure that you're open and friendly and establishing rapport. That's where I would say you draw the line. If the person is still reluctant, well, hey, at least you've done your job. Maybe they even know somebody, and hey, stay in touch. If they're not as reluctant to stay in touch with you, if they want to still stay in touch with you, and you can maybe send them a nice friendly hello every now and again. Don't harass them, of course. But that's also part of networking too. You just never know when, you know, maybe at one time in their life they're more reluctant, and maybe 6 months or a year from now, or maybe even years from now, they're going to be in a stage in their life where they're just less reluctant. You just never know. But you know, keep them on what they say, the back burner, and stay open. But in the meantime, you make sure that you're as organized as possible. You make sure that you're as comprehensive and easy to understand as possible. And you make sure that you're building that rapport and you're as open as possible. So that's where you draw the line. This has been another BIBX BrainSnax, Psych 101 category of the KBW. I'm L1, and I'll see you guys later.